So we saw the newest film from Kiyoshi Kurosawa, which last year he did that short film Chime, which we reviewed. Most notably for us anyways, he did the film Pulse.
Yes.
And he also did a fan favorite movie called Cure. And he's done tons of things. But his newest movie, Cloud, is about a guy named Yoshi who is a reseller. He does this deal in the beginning that makes him a lot of money, and he now believes that he can do this like permanently, so he quits his job, takes his girlfriend, and moves out into this kind of secluded house and starts a reselling business online. But the things that he's selling may not be as advertised. And because of this, there are some people who are not too happy with him. Yeah, all right. So I'll say this. I absolutely loathe and detest resellers. Now, if you're somebody who just like has some stuff and you're reselling it, or, you know, I'm talking about people who purposely go out and buy things, especially scalpers.
Yeah.
They're the worst people, and the fact that
So
even
awful.
is legal is mind-boggling to me. I could go on a 10-minute long rant about it, how easy it would be to get rid of. I think they are genuinely dreadful people that need to be exterminated from the planet. So this guy already was set up for me to hate him, and hate him like very aggressively.
Yeah.
So and with foreign films, I'm typically used to having an unlikable protagonist. So that's nothing new to me. So it really, I want to make sure that we understand where I'm coming from with this. But that really didn't work into my opinion of this film. But ultimately, yeah, this one just didn't work for me. Kayla and I got into a big, long discussion after this because we were just like so confused on so many things. And I was like, damn, I really wish we'd have just recorded that as like a spoiler discussion because that would have been pretty good. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, like you just said, we were both very confused. You know, I think that obviously he's a very competent filmmaker, so there's not like any issues with how the film looks or sounds or, you know, the performances or anything like that. With this one, I just mostly found that the story itself was a bit confusing for me. There's one character in particular that we both were like, we don't really understand their role. And
if it wasn't for that one character,
everything
the
else
whole
makes
movie would make total sense.
But this character's, you know, pretty important, and you know, it is sort of supposed to be ambiguous in the ending, but I feel like it's just, I just don't understand that aspect of it. So unfortunately, that does bring down the film because I felt confused in a bad way, not in like a, oh, there's a mystery there. Like, it just mostly was a negative for me. And I also think that there's not really, you know, this has a horror label to it, but it's much more of a thriller than a horror movie. There's a few shots, like a couple shots near the beginning of the film that are creepy and definitely fall in like the horror category. But for like the majority of the film is very much just like straightforward, like a thriller, which is fine.
It abandons that tone.
Yes, but
completely.
the tone like does not like last throughout. So like if you start this and you think that that's going to continue, where there's like, you know, obviously there's a lot of very subtle, creepy imagery in like Pulse and Cure and stuff. That's not the case with this one, at least not for me. So I just would make sure that people, like if you're thinking about watching this, that you're maybe more in the mindset of it being like a thriller versus a horror movie, so that you have some good expectations to go into it.
If you can get on board and with this character and you don't seem to find an issue with them, I don't really want to say who it is until, I mean, I guess we can discuss some spoilers really quick just so that you guys can see where we're coming from if you did watch the movie, since that's, why some people even come to these reviews. It's like, I want to understand this as well. We don't have an explanation for you because we're just as confused as you are if you did watch the film. But before I talk about any spoilers or anything, overall, I feel like I don't feel like almost anything really worked for me all that well. Like, I was somewhat interested, and honestly, it became a movie that I was really just excited to get some kind of catharsis out of, where I'm like, oh my God, perfect. Like, we don't make enough movies about what pieces of shit these types of people are, right? Because we get this opening scene where he's taking advantage of these business owners who are kind of like, their backs are against a wall, and he's like he's lowballing them to the nth degree, and it's like they don't have anywhere else to go, and he rips them off hard and makes a tremendous amount of money off of it, and like right there immediately you're like, okay, I hate this guy. Yeah. I hate this guy. And then his girlfriend, Akiko, she's awful.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, okay, so I'm dealing with awful people. That's fine. I can deal with that as long as it goes somewhere and it's a compelling story. But there's a character that's introduced a little later into the film, and then they kind of go away for a bit, and then when they come back, that's when the whole film falls apart for me. But even putting that aside, like, even if the movie does make sense, I just don't like where things really go with this film and where characters end up, because I don't feel like it says enough about what it originally intended to set out to say, in my own personal opinion, of where basically, I guess, biasly where I wanted it to go, right? So putting that aside, I want to talk spoilers really quick because I'm just so confused on spoilers. The character of Sano, Sano, Sanos, whatever, however you say this guy's name. So I'll just call him Sano just so we know. So I already told Kaylee, it makes no sense to me at all. So you had said or I shouldn't say you had said, but he reads online that Yoshi's in danger, like, by these guys who are wanting to track him down. Yeah. They get this like little group of misfits together. They're going to track him down and kill him. Good. I'm all here for it. I totally watch this guy get killed and be fine with it. But Sano, who is barely a character before, right? He's just his assistant. And then he looks into his computer and he's like, hey, like, I think maybe you could do your business. Teach me how to resell and we can expand your business. And he's like, sorry, I can't trust you anymore. You're fired. You got to go. Yeah. He leaves and you think, okay, like, I think he'll, if anything, I thought he was going to be one of the guys that would come to, kill them with him because he got fired. But what ends up happening is he reads this stuff, and then his initial thought is, I need to contact somebody. He already has big connections, which I'm trying to stay focused and not get to the end thing to, like, imply that maybe he works for the devil or something. Anyway, he goes and finds this guy who brings him a tracking device and a couple guns. But why at this point would he think he needs to track him? Because he didn't move. And if he thought that the guys were after him, wouldn't he immediately run to his house? Like, not run, literally, but, like, drive over to his house and try to see if he was, like, in danger and to help him. I mean, if he went to go get guns from that guy, that would make sense. And then while he's getting guns, he's like, we might as well get the tracker. So maybe that's the explanation, is he needed the guns? But don't you think you'd just drive over there immediately and try to warn him? Like, hey, there's people coming?
He does warn Yoshi when he's leaving, where he's like, he has a line, like, as he's about to leave, that says, like, something along the lines of, like, have you heard about, like, what people are saying online about Rattel?
Sure.
So I feel like he does try to warn him, and then is like, there's not really a reaction, or at least there's no, like, wait, like, tell me more, or, like, hold on, stay. So I think that he goes and gets the tracker and everything, kind of anticipating that there's going to be trouble.
But why would he think these people would kidnap him? and he would need a tracker. I'm not saying that this is even the most important part, because that's not even the thing that doesn't really all make that much sense to me. His character coming and what it all means to the film and how it ends and all that, that's the confusing part. I'm just kind of stuck up on this idea of why he would go and get guns and a tracker instead of just going to his house. But at that point, you're right. Even now, you're just reminding me, he reads those threats before he's even fired.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So, the way that this would have made sense to me is if he came back to his house to, like, try to talk him into hiring him again or whatever. And when he gets there, he sees the place is tossed over. He's missing. And then he goes, contacts the guy. I need guns. I need a tracker. I need to find him, and I need weapons. But to just randomly get a tracker and weapons feels so weird to me. And the fact that he has connections to what seemingly is like a big job type of thing. And it's like he wants to work for this guy as a reseller.
Yeah.
But then again, we get into the ending, which is hinting at that maybe he, like, is influencing him, like he's working for the devil, maybe?
I don't know, yeah. I had said that he sort of seems like a guardian angel, but not an angel.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's supposed to be supernatural like that. It is an interesting ending, like with just the way the sky looks and everything.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like they're not on Earth, or like they're in some other dimension or something, just because it's very surreal and dreamy looking. But I don't know what to make of his character. I mean, yeah, this is the character that I think confuses the whole film for me, and maybe we're just misunderstanding it. It's very possible that we're just, like, kind of not getting that character, but, I mean, well, we are not getting that character,
No,
so I don't know. I really don't know. I don't got anything.
Yeah, I don't understand his inclusion, because as I had told Kaylee, if we are going down that route of, like, he's a bad influence, right? If anyone's a bad influence, it's one of the guys who tries to kill him. It's his early friend from, like, college that's, like, trying to push him into these things that eventually gets him to go off on his own, and you know, there's a bit of a feud between them and this and that. But with the other guy, the only real interaction he has with him is, like, the guy puts the boxes on the shelf for him, and then he's like, hey, I think we can expand your business. And he's like, no, you're fired. And he's like, okay, and he leaves. That's it. There's no push for anything. Like, Yoshi is kind of a shitbag completely on his own, and he's never really... I guess his girlfriend, because she wants lavish things, is kind of an influence... But he does it to himself. He always does it to himself. There's not some, like... As I told Kaylee when we were talking about it, like, I felt like if he had the option to do the right thing and not do the right thing, and there was kind of, like, a bit of an influence on both sides, like, maybe his girlfriend was, like, you know, a good influence and was trying to talk him out of it, and then there was this other voice that was kind of a bad influence... And he kept weighing those options and ultimately going down the wrong path. And the more he went down that path and the more he was influenced. And then we got to that ending of, like, oh, this is how this is how we get to hell or whatever. I'd have been like, yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. But this character is so non-existent for the whole film to then just kind of come in and shoot at everybody. And then that whole scene is just, you know, or that whole segment, that whole third act is just kind of a shootout with random guys that we've met a little bit along the way, but never in a way that felt genuine. Like, he quits his job and then his boss kills his wife and his kids and then comes after him for quitting his job.
But it's kind of like...
he didn't screw him over. He didn't do anything to that guy. He literally quit the job and he could hire anybody else to promote. So his character made no sense. And then also, we get these, like, devices in the beginning. Because I had guessed what had happened was that he had sold a faulty device to someone and it got someone killed. It did something to maim someone. It really fucked somebody up. But to get people to, like, want to kill him over, like, a faulty handbag... There's just not enough there to get him to get killed for me for a bunch of guys to get together and literally like they're like, I'm willing to be killed by the cops for this.
Yeah.
And it's like, over buying a handbag? Like, I know that there's that one character that's getting pushed hard by a guy who's like, get me the money or whatever. So he's mad. He's the one character that I can understand being mad at him, being like, fuck this guy, I'm going to go kill him because he sold me a bunch of faulty shit. But everyone else, it's just, I don't know. Oh, and the guy in the opening. I guess the guy in the opening.
So,
sorry,
I
know.
Was that it kind of is implying that Yoshi has an influence on people to make them kind of the worst versions of themselves. So it's not just that he's like selling things that are, fake designer purses or, equipment that hasn't been fully tested or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's all an aspect as well. But it also seems like all these people that he interacts with end up becoming worse and worse and ultimately leading them to like wanting to kill him, which if we're going down like a supernatural or kind of like spooky way, maybe that's what's attracting whatever other evil forces that Sano might be or whoever that want to help and like protect him because he has this like ability, and it's like we could just kind of continue to support him and he'll just kind of get stronger and stronger and like make people worse and worse. So it's not just him. Because his boss, like, literally kills his wife and child.
But he has no influence.
We don't ever hear that he was necessarily, like, a victim of his online scheme or anything.
No, it wasn't.
So it makes it seem like it's just purely because he interacted with him that he, like, has a breaking point because he declines his job.
Had he fucked his boss over in a way that got his boss fired, right? Or like the boss stuck up for him and then he just left and he's like, you got me fired, my wife left me, and then he went and killed them.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't
just
happen. But I'm saying like it might be more subtle than that because the same thing sort of happens with his girlfriend where she's definitely greedy in the beginning, but she's not nearly as like crazed and greedy by like how she gets to be by the end of it, where she's like wanting to kill him.
There's too many subtle things in here.
I agree. I think it's like a little too subtle.
The motives of almost everyone don't work at all because almost none of them are developed at all. It's just kind of like random people getting together to murder someone, and not only just murder them, but they're so committed to it outside of the one guy who wears the mask. They're also committed to it. They're willing to die. Yeah. They're like, I don't give a shit. He's like, oh, the cops will come and kill us. And he's like, I couldn't care less. It's like, over a fucking handbag? Like, what? I don't know, man. I don't buy the motives. I don't buy the setups. I don't buy the ending, the ambiguous ending. Like, none of it makes any sense to me. Yeah. And it's almost, a lot of it really honestly only has to do with Sano. Like, the other people, if they were just mad and they were coming to get, like, if they weren't like, fuck it, I don't care, I'll die. If they were just kind of like, let's kill this little son of a bitch for screwing everyone over, I would have been completely on board with that. I wouldn't have cared at all. Like, that scene where he goes to the store and buys out all of those, like, figures that everyone's waiting outside for, and then they all, like, he comes out and he puts the, like, sold out sign on there, and then he drives past them as they're all like freaking out, like, oh my god, I wanted this thing. I wanted him dead so bad in that moment because I know people like this exist that go and they buy up like 30 of this thing and then they sell them on eBay 5 seconds later. They are scumbags. Yeah. They are scumbags because they provide literally nothing to society. All they do is they create a supply and demand issue. Right? They're a middleman that does not need to exist. They are the worst kinds of people. They didn't make the product. They don't want the product. Yeah. They literally just step in between and they grab everything before anyone else can, and then they provide it. They divvy it out for an elevated cost. It's the worst shit of all time to me. I hate these people so much. So it's so easy. I was so into this idea of taking like a reseller and demonizing them and having the audience be like, yes, I'm totally behind this, and then it just all falls apart.
Yeah.
So it just kind of bummed me out, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's like, this is the kind of story I would have been so into.
Yeah.
But fuck, this went nowhere for me.
It's a shame.
Such a weird ending. Anyway. All right, that's that. Sorry, I talked too much, babe.
No,
I'm just
not
very
at all.
passionate about this. Like,
Yes.
I don't get this at all. So,
Yeah.
if we're idiots and you can explain it to us, please let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. We'll see you in the comments. Adios.
Bye.